Cedric, my husband, frantically stuffed his mobile phone into his pocket. Suddenly, our niece Roseanne said to Cedric with a serious face, "Cedric, why did you bury a baby in the mountain?" Hearing this, both my sister Lily and I stopped our conversation and looked at Roseanne. "What?" Cedric turned pale. "What are you talking about?" Cedric, though flustered, replied, "The baby I just saw on Cedric's mobile phone." Roseanne said seriously, "Cedric, show me the photo on your phone again." At Roseanne's request, Cedric opened his photo folder and showed her a picture from camping. "Not this photo." Roseanne said this and swiftly took the mobile phone from Cedric's hands, sliding through the screen. Cedric, in a moment of panic, "Ah!" exclaimed and hurried to take back the mobile phone. Dodging Cedric's hand, Roseanne turned the phone's screen to show Lily and me the picture. It was a photo of an unknown young woman. "She's the one who reached out first. She said she was stuck with work and needed someone to talk to." Cedric insisted he was just keeping her company because she had asked him to. Thanks to Roseanne's mysterious ability, I came to know the other side of Cedric. The reason why Cedric was coming home later day by day and spending nights staring endlessly at his mobile phone became clear. I had Cedric take me to the mountain where he supposedly buried a baby. Holding the dug-up baby, I later headed to Cedric's workplace. My name is Violet. I am 29 years old. I married Cedric, who is the same age as me, exactly 1 year ago. Cedric is a salaryman. And I also work at a company, keeping busy every day. We don't have kids yet. Cedric and I met through a friend's introduction. After dating for a few years, we got married last year. The wedding was moving. Cedric helps with household chores and sometimes cooks dinner. To me, he is the perfect husband. I truly felt blessed to be married to him. Lily, my older sister, lives about a 20-minute drive from the apartment where we live. Lily is 3 years older than me and is already married, with a daughter named Roseanne, who is now 5 years old. Lily's family bought a single-family home where the three of them live. I adore my niece, Roseanne. Roseanne also calls me Violet and is very fond of me. Once when I visited my sister's house, Roseanne suddenly said to me, "When I was in Mom's tummy, I heard Violet's voice." "What?" I was very surprised. "I remember when I was in Mom's tummy. I heard Dad's voice too," Roseanne answered with a serious face. I had heard stories about children having memories from the womb, but this was the first time I'd been told something like this directly. When I mentioned this to Lily, "Yeah, sometimes Roseanne talks about when she was in my tummy. It's really possible, huh?" Impressed, Lily shared another episode with me. "That's not all. When I lose something and am looking for it, there are times when she tells me where it is. It's not like Roseanne saw where I put it. But when we look where Roseanne tells us, it's really there." "That's amazing." "I don't really understand it, but it seems like Roseanne has some kind of mysterious power," Lily said to me with a serious face. A little distance away, Roseanne was innocently playing with a stuffed toy. Maybe young children have some special powers, after all. Thinking this, I watched Roseanne. Some time had passed, and Cedric's returns home began to get later day by day. At first, I thought he must be busy with work, but recently he started coming home after the date had changed, which became frequent. I started to feel a bit anxious. One night, when Cedric came home late and immediately headed for a shower, I spoke to him. "Cedric, you've been doing a lot of overtime lately, haven't you?" "Yeah, the boss just won't let me leave." Cedric said this and then went into the bathroom, closing the door behind him. About 5 minutes later, Cedric came out. I offered him the dinner I had made, but Cedric said, "Sorry, I'm too tired to eat. Then I'll go to bed first. Yeah, good night. It was quite late, so I went to the bedroom first. Assuming Cedric was too tired to eat, I thought he would come to the bedroom soon after. However, an hour, then 2 hours passed, and Cedric didn't come to the bedroom. Feeling restless and unable to sleep, I quietly left the bedroom to peek into the living room. There, in the dimly lit living room, Cedric was sitting on the sofa, looking at his mobile phone. From his hand movements, it seemed like Cedric was typing something. He looked very happy, with a relaxed expression on his face. Despite supposedly being exhausted from overtime, what was he doing? Could he be messaging someone? If so, who? My heart was filled with anxiety. Unable to muster the courage to speak to Cedric, who seemed happy looking at his mobile phone, I quietly returned to the bedroom. Hey Cedric, how about we go camping during the next long weekend? One day, I broached the topic with Cedric. Camping? Even though we were newlyweds, we hadn't gone out anywhere on weekends recently. Up until a little while ago, we used to go to movies or amusement parks on weekends, doing date-like activities. I wanted to go to the mountains with Cedric and spend time just the two of us. There's a campsite in the mountains with a tent. We could have a barbecue together. And at night, we could watch the starry sky. How does that sound? Fun, right? Cedric didn't seem very enthusiastic, but I really wanted to go. Once we got there, I was sure Cedric would enjoy it too. All right, fine. But what about the car? Ours is small and can't carry much. After Cedric mentioned that, I decided to ask Lily for advice. One day, I visited Lily's house alone. And I asked her about borrowing her car. You can borrow our car. And feel free to use our tent too. Lily gladly said so. Lily's car was big, suitable for mountain roads, and could carry our stuff without any issues. I thanked Lily. Thank you. This really helps a lot. Take this chance to relax together, just the two of you. While Lily and I were talking, Roseanne, who was listening, said, Violet and Cedric are going camping? That sounds so nice. I want to go too. Yeah, it would be nice to go with you too, sometime. The day before the camping trip, I borrowed the car from Lily's house and returned home. The next day, Cedric and I departed for a 2-night, 3-day camping trip in that car. Breathing in the fresh air of the great outdoors, I felt refreshed both physically and mentally. Cedric seemed happier than usual and appeared to enjoy his time. Even though I had to coax him into it, coming to the mountains was truly a great decision. As we talked, I deeply felt this in my heart. However, late at night, while sleeping next to me, Cedric quietly got up and began to use his mobile phone again. I pretended to be asleep. Cedric spent about 2 hours on his phone. It seemed like he was messaging someone again. The second night was the same. And then came the third day. We returned home from the campsite. It was around 4 p.m. When were we planning to return this car? Lily said it's okay to return it tomorrow. As I answered, Cedric said excitedly, I see. Is it all right if I use the car to go out for a bit now? Now? At this time? I was surprised. We had just returned from camping, and now he wanted to go out again. I wanted to invite some local buddies and go out in a big car like this. You're not going to drink, are you? I won't drink at all. What time will you be back? Well, I'll make sure to return before the date changes. It's a holiday, so it's okay to do this once in a while, right? I reluctantly agreed after Cedric insisted. Cedric happily got into the car, humming a tune, and quickly drove off. I wondered if all his local friends could really come on such short notice during a long weekend. Thinking about this, I spent a lonely evening at home. And just a few minutes before midnight, Cedric returned home. See? I came back before the date changed. And I didn't drink any alcohol. Cedric said this as soon as he returned home. Then, he immediately took out his mobile phone to look at it. Cedric, you've been looking at your mobile phone a lot lately. I said this with a tone of dissatisfaction. I'm just emailing the friends I was with until now. Cedric said this and then went into the bathroom with his mobile phone. The next day, Cedric and I went together to return the car and tent to Lily's house. When we handed over the sweets we bought near the campsite as a souvenir, Roseanne was also happy. Lily invited us inside and offered us coffee. Roseanne has become quite attached to Cedric since she's met him several times. Lily calls my husband Cedric, so Roseanne naturally started calling him Cedric as well. Roseanne was playing with Cedric, sitting together on the sofa. Cedric was smiling and responding warmly to Roseanne. Eventually, Cedric began showing Roseanne the photos he took at the camping trip on his mobile phone, at her request. Lily and I were chatting. How was the camping? Did you have fun? Yes, a lot. Thanks for the car and the tent. It was really helpful. Suddenly, Cedric loudly said to Roseanne, "Ah! Don't touch it without permission. That's enough." Taking back his mobile phone swiftly. Roseanne, being familiar with using a mobile phone, seemed to have touched Cedric's phone on her own. Hey, you shouldn't touch things without permission. Lily gently scolded Roseanne. I want to see more photos on Cedric's mobile phone. Roseanne made a dissatisfied face. Cedric frantically stuffed his mobile phone into his pocket. Then, suddenly, Roseanne said to Cedric with a serious face, Cedric, why did you bury a baby in the mountain? Hearing this, Lily and I stopped our conversation and looked at Roseanne. Cedric turned pale. What are you talking about? Cedric, though flustered, replied, The baby I just saw on your mobile phone. Roseanne said this seriously. Cedric, can you show the photo on your phone again? At Roseanne's request, Cedric opened his photo folder and showed her a picture from camping. Not this photo. Roseanne said this and swiftly took the mobile phone from Cedric's hands, sliding through the screen. Cedric, in a moment of panic, "Ah!" exclaimed and hurried to take back the mobile phone. Dodging Cedric's hand, Roseanne turned the phone's screen to show Lily and me the picture. It was a photo of an unknown young woman. The woman was holding a large baby-shaped stuffed animal to her chest, smiling happily. The background showed a claw machine, suggesting the photo was taken at a game center. It appeared the stuffed animal was a prize from the claw game. Who's this? I asked in a low voice. Cedric, with a panicked look, tried to take the mobile phone from Roseanne's hand. In that moment, Roseanne handed me the phone, and I slid the screen. Then, a photo of Cedric and the young woman leaning close together appeared. Sliding again, I found a picture of Cedric and the woman lying side by side. Upon closer inspection, the location was inside a car. Judging by the color of the seats and the car's interior, it was inside the car we had borrowed from Lily. They had reclined the seats to make them flat and taken the photo lying down together. Cedric's eyes darted from right to left. Sweat was breaking out on his forehead. Lily looked at me worriedly. Then, Lily's husband, my brother-in-law, came home from work. I wanted to confront Cedric about the woman in the photo right away. But, of course, it wasn't appropriate to question Cedric in front of Roseanne and my brother-in-law. Understanding the situation, Lily suggested that she would ask her husband to look after Roseanne and proposed that we move to another room. Cedric, Lily, and I went to a room upstairs, closed the door, and continued our conversation. Who is the woman in these photos on your phone? Cedric did not open up easily. However, after persistent questioning from Lily and me, Cedric finally started to explain. The woman in the photos was Risa, a colleague from Cedric's workplace. She was currently 23 years old. She joined the company as a new employee this spring. Cedric was having an affair with this woman named Risa. I felt like I was about to collapse from shock. She's the one who initiated it. She said she was stuck with work and needed someone to talk to. Cedric, can you show me what kind of interactions you had with this person named Risa? When Lily suddenly asked this, Cedric became even more flustered. Eh? That's impossible. Given there was infidelity, as your sister-in-law, I want to see the evidence. Of course, Violet has the right to know as well. Cedric insisted. I absolutely don't want to show my mobile phone. But after Lily's strong persuasion, he reluctantly handed over his mobile phone to Lily. Looking through Cedric's mobile phone, we found a lot of exchanges between him and Risa. The two of them whispered sweet nothings to each other multiple times a day. I was stunned by an exchange from one day. It was messages from the night he went out with the car borrowed from Lily. I had a great time today. Even though it was just for a bit, I'm glad I got to see you, Risa. I was so happy to be close to you in such a big car. Me too. I lied just to sneak out of the house today for that. By the way, I wonder if it was sad to bury the baby doll in the mountain. It's just patience until the day you and I can get married. Yeah. We'll dig it up together then. It's kind of like a time capsule, isn't it? Cedric, when can you divorce your wife? I'll try to make it happen soon. If we can get married someday, you'll have my baby, right, Risa? Yes. I believe in you, Cedric, and I'll wait. Seeing this exchange, I was so shocked that I froze. What's this? Cedric, looking awkward, was sweating profusely. Cedric, tell me everything. Cedric, seemingly realizing he couldn't escape, began to detail everything. Cedric said that Risa told him she needed advice, and that's how they started going out for meals together. Because it was late at night, Cedric ended up driving Risa home. Since Risa lived with her parents and couldn't invite him inside, they started parking the car near a local park and talking until late into the night. Eventually, their relationship became romantic. The times Cedric claimed to be working overtime were actually just dates with Risa. The day we returned from camping, Cedric, wanting desperately to go on a drive date, lied to me and met up with Risa using the car we had borrowed from Lily. They enjoyed their drive and stopped by a game center at a certain location. Urged by Risa, Cedric won a large baby-shaped stuffed animal from a claw machine. It's like we're a married couple with a baby, isn't it? Risa said happily, hugging the stuffed animal. They decided to bury the stuffed animal in the mountain like a time capsule until they could become a real married couple. If they got married, they planned to return to dig it up as a way to remember this day. They placed the stuffed animal in a large plastic bag and buried it in a small hill at the back of the park where they often parked the car and got close. The shovel and other tools from the camping trip were still in the car, which conveniently helped them dig. What is that? Hearing this story, I found Cedric utterly repulsive. Lily, sitting beside me, was speechless with a furrowed brow. The act of burying a baby-shaped stuffed animal in the mountain was creepy in itself. But what hurt the most was that they had already sworn to marry each other. Cedric responded to Risa. If we can get married someday, you'll have my baby, right? And even said that. This deeply wounded my heart. We had only been married for a year. And didn't have any children yet. Meanwhile, Cedric was promising marriage and imagining having babies with a young new employee. I broke down in tears in front of Cedric and Lily. Lily hugged me and comforted me. Cedric just looked awkward and flustered. But it's strange, isn't it? How did Roseanne know from just seeing the photo that Cedric had buried a baby-shaped stuffed animal in the mountain? After crying my heart out, I suddenly wondered about this. That's right. It must be that child's mysterious power. Cedric seemed not to understand what we were talking about. Lacking the courage to ask me or Lily for more details, his shoulders drooping in defeat. As it was getting late, Cedric and I returned to our apartment. Back home, I sat face to face with Cedric to continue our conversation. We've only been married for a year, and you dare to betray me so blatantly. I glared at Cedric as I said this. I'm sorry. But really, it was her who approached me first. She said she was struggling with work and wanted someone to talk to. That's no excuse. You got completely carried away just because a younger woman showed you some attention. I vented my anger at Cedric's excuses. It's bad enough that you are the worst, but that Risa woman is no better. Knowing full well that you are married. Well, she was having a tough time with work, going through a lot of trouble. Cedric's attempt to defend Risa only disgusted me more. So, because she seemed to be having a hard time, you decided to comfort her by cuddling up in the car as her senior? I've been troubled too, you know? Recently, your returns have been late, and you've been on your mobile phone till dawn. I pretended to sleep, but I was fully aware. You were always messaging someone on your phone. I raised my voice to Cedric. Cedric hung his head in silence once again. For starters, I'll be informing our parents and in-laws about this. Cedric started to panic as I said this. Of course, I'll tell the parents. Lily already knows, after all. There's no way we're keeping this a secret. I exposed Cedric's affair to both our parents and in-laws. Then, both sets of parents stormed into our home, scolding Cedric. How could you commit adultery within a year of marriage? Poor Violet. Exactly. What was all that about the vows at the wedding? Swearing to make Violet happy with tears in your eyes, and then you easily betray her. My father Georgie and mother Caddy curiously rebuked Cedric. Even more so, my father-in-law Bert and mother-in-law Mariah were furious. I never thought my son could be such a fool. You're a disgrace to our family. That's right. Don't you dare come back home again. More importantly, we're so sorry, Violet. To think you're still newlyweds. I'm truly sorry. As a parent, there's nothing more shameful. Exactly. Such a disgraceful son. Bert deeply apologized to me. Hey! Cedric, apologize to her as well. Forced by Bert to bow, Cedric lowered his head in front of me. I'm truly sorry. Tearfully, Cedric said this after being fiercely reprimanded by the parents-in-law. To have a wonderful wife like Violet and to behave so disgracefully. Cedric, we are done with you. Understand? After being scolded by both sets of parents and everyone had left, Cedric just slumped down, exhausted. Cedric, I want a divorce. I stated it firmly. Of course. You want to marry Risa and have her bear your children, right? As you wish, I'll divorce you. I yelled at Cedric. I did say things about marrying Risa and having kids in the emails, but that wasn't my true intention. It was just the heat of the moment, saying things she'd like to hear. The one I truly love is you, Violet. Cedric said this, almost pleading. Ha! Hearing you now makes me dislike you even more. I said coldly, and Cedric looked confused. Such words wouldn't make me reconsider. I can't trust you anymore. Let's get divorced, I told Cedric. Please, think it over. I don't really intend to marry Risa. It was all just a game. Cedric was desperately trying to backtrack after betraying me. I told Cedric. So, Cedric, will you take me to where you buried the stuffed animal? The holiday ended, and Cedric had to go back to work. It was also a work day for me, but I called in to take the day off. Excuse me, I'm always grateful for your support of Cedric. I entered the office located inside the building, bowing and greeting loudly. This was Cedric's workplace. Everyone present was stunned and focused on me. And no wonder. In my arms, I was holding a dirt-covered baby stuffed animal. The unusual scene froze all the employees in shock. As I walked, the dirt from the stuffed animal spilled onto the office floor. With his face pale, Cedric hurriedly approached me. Yesterday, I had Cedric guide me to the mountain where the stuffed animal was buried. In front of me, I made Cedric dig up the baby-shaped stuffed animal. The stuffed animal was in a large bag, but it became covered in dirt as Cedric dug it out with a shovel. Last night, I thought about how I could possibly get revenge on the two of them using this stuffed animal. I came up with the plan to bring the dirt-covered stuffed animal to the company and confront them directly. Cedric, who never imagined I would show up at his company with the stuffed animal, seemed completely flustered. Cedric has been having an affair with Risa. When I said this, all the employees turned their attention to one woman. It seemed that she was Cedric's affair partner, Risa. Like Cedric, Risa's face turned pale, and she looked down, overwhelmed by shame. They had buried this stuffed animal in the soil until they could marry each other, planning to dig it up together once their dream came true. Upon hearing this, murmurs spread through the office. What? I can't believe it. That's too creepy. It's like a horror story. Everyone was shocked. But I don't understand. Cedric is having an affair with Risa, yet why would he say this to me? While saying this, I played a video on my mobile phone at a high volume. Cedric's voice could be heard. Please, reconsider. I don't really intend to marry Risa. It was all just a game. After the video ended, Risa, who had been looking down, raised her face and confronted Cedric with an angry expression. Just a game? Cedric, what do you mean? No, that's not. I mean... Cedric was caught between Risa and me, struggling to find the words. You said your marriage was already failing, and you would divorce soon to marry me. You even asked me to have your baby. Risa yelled at Cedric with anger. The employees were again startled by her words, standing up and starting to buzz with commotion. Here, take this. I handed the dirt-covered baby-shaped stuffed animal to Risa. Then, I presented Cedric with the divorce papers. We're getting a divorce. Sign this now. You're the worst. Cedric, taken aback by my forcefulness, silently signed the divorce papers. Everyone, I apologize for the disturbance. My business here is done, so I'll take my leave. As I bowed and said this to Cedric and Risa, I added, I wish you both all the best. With that, I left Cedric's company, brushing off the dirt on my clothes as I went. Cedric and Risa were both interrogated at the company and admitted to their affair. Concerned about the company's image, their bosses fired them both immediately. Risa, having been referred to as just a fling, was furious. Her anger transformed her from a seemingly frail newcomer into a woman filled with rage. After I moved out following the divorce, Risa forcefully moved in with Cedric, starting their cohabitation. Cedric was threatened by Risa. You never know what I might do. Cedric had no choice but to comply with her demands. After being fired, Cedric tried to find another job but was barred by Risa from talking to any other woman, she said. Fed up with Risa's instability and unpredictable behavior, Cedric reluctantly obeyed. He ended up working at a construction site, exhausting himself daily with unfamiliar manual labor amidst an all-male crew. Risa took control over Cedric's freedom, constantly checking his phone, terrified of another woman taking Cedric away as she had done. Struggling with apartment rent, living expenses, and the compensation demanded by me, Cedric led a life devoid of financial and emotional ease. I also demanded compensation from Risa, who started juggling multiple part-time jobs, frequently getting fired and changing workplaces. A lawyer, who helped with the compensation matter, met Cedric and informed me about Cedric and Risa's miserable situation. After the divorce, I moved back to my parents' house. Since my workplace was within commuting distance from my parents' home, I continued my job without change. Living back home allowed me to see not only my parents but also Lily and Roseanne more often. Lily truly sympathized with me and offered her support. "Violet, you've been through a lot. You're still young, and I'm sure there will be good opportunities ahead." "I hope so. But thanks to Roseanne's mysterious power, I was able to get away from that terrible man quickly." I truly believed that. Being able to divorce such a man so swiftly was a silver lining in a bad situation. I felt like Roseanne, with her mysterious powers, was almost like my benefactor. I also hoped that someday I would meet a sincere man, get married, and have the chance to raise children. For that moment, I decided to focus on working hard and saving money. With these thoughts, I'm living each day with a positive outlook.